What's up YouTube, it's JackalGoldKick, and in this video I'm going to be talking about other YouTube names I've had. So I don't really have a list, but I'm pretty sure I can remember all of them. I'm going to go through some alternate names on YouTube that I once had or used or thought about having but didn't go with it full time. So let's go through some of these. I'll try to remember all of them if I can. So the first YouTube name I ever had actually wasn't JackalGoldKick. It was actually Boom Onyx Slash. That was actually my first YouTube channel. I made Boom Onyx Slash before JackalGoldKick. I just made like Def Jam videos on there. And the reason I didn't use that channel anymore is because after a while I lost my password to my Boom Onyx Slash account, but I just couldn't get back into it because I lost the password, so I had to make a new account. But I think how I came up with the name Boom Onyx Slash is I was wanting to get into YouTube and create a channel, so I was just thinking of a random name. And you know, in my opinion, I feel like when you're younger, especially a kid, I actually think you could come up with names better because you could just come up with something even crazier and random. Whereas these days, I suck at making names. It doesn't matter what it's for. If I had to make a new account or do something like that, like if I was to start a new YouTube channel right now, I couldn't tell you a new name I could use, you know. So I feel like you're able to make better names when you're younger. That's what I feel like. But I think how I came up with Boom Onyx Slash is I was just thinking of some random name. I think I was thinking of like three things. I was thinking of Boom, maybe from Gears of War, Onyx from Gears of War, and then maybe Slash, something from like Final Fantasy VII, because I played that years ago. I don't know. Maybe that's how I came up with it. So that's the first name I had. Then I made the new channel once I lost the password of that, and I was trying to think of names. The first name I had for this channel was Jackal Meal Kick, and I was like, that doesn't sound quite right. So I replaced meal with gold, and it really stuck. So I stuck with JackalGoldKick. And I've had that name for a long time now, and I will continue to keep that name forever. But there were other names I had even during the years of the JackalGoldKick run. Some other names I had on YouTube. One name I had at one point that I changed it to for a bit was Cursed Python. I don't know how I came up with that name, but Cursed Python was another YouTube name I had at one point. I'm going to switch back to JackalGoldKick. I think just the name Jordan, my first name Jordan, I think that was like the first, one of the only, I think that was one of the other YouTube names I had at one point, so that's another one. Kane, that's another YouTube name I had at one point. That's one of the names in my real name, and that's a name I had at one point, but I didn't stick with it for too long. Mr. J was one where it was like Mr. and then the first initial of my name. I didn't really stick with that one because I was like, it don't sound too good, and plus it just reminds me of Harley Quinn when she says Mr. J, so I was like, I'm not going to go with that name. Some other YouTube names, JGK, I think that was one at one point. JackalGoldKick old channel, I think that's when I wasn't really feeling YouTube anymore, so I just abandoned it. Some other YouTube names I had, I think that's about it, because I think the reason in general that I went through other YouTube names is because, you know, there was times where I doubted my name, where I'm like, JackalGoldKick's not a good name, I shouldn't stick with it. So I did play around with other names, like I said, Boom Onyx Slash, Cursed Python, Kane, Jordan, JGK, I think, I can't remember. Jackal Meal Kick, that name that didn't stick, that eventually ended up being JackalGoldKick. Cursed Python was one I used for a bit, but I stopped using that. Mr. J was an idea at one point. JackalGoldKick old channel, I think that was just using that because when I had my hiatus on YouTube, I couldn't decide if I was coming back or not. So I was kind of like, just kind of thinking of ideas, and I was like, I kept wanting to make a new channel or be in this cycle of making a new channel. I didn't know what I wanted to do with YouTube, so I think I like abandoned the JackalGoldKick account, and then I like just called it old channel because like this is the old channel, I'm gonna move on, but never went with that. So yeah, that was just a short video I wanted to make just about some other YouTube names I've had. Not a crazy list, but figured I'd go through them just to tell people some of the YouTube names that I used to have at one point. So that's all I got to say in this video. Peace.